Hello, everybody. I am Jody Farmer, Bozo Wifey, the Intercollegiate Coordinator for the University of Oklahoma's Esports program with Esports and Co-Curricular Innovation. I am here today with two players from our teams that compete. I have Alo Marshall, Ice Drew from Splatoon, and I have Luke Whitehead, Where Is My Son from Overwatch, here to chat with me today. How y'all doing this evening?
Okay.
Doing well.
Doing well. Cool. That is good to hear. It's hard to believe we only have a few weeks left of this semester, and there's been so much going on. Luke, I'll ask you the first question. How did you get into OU Esports? And tell us a little bit about yourself, like you're graduating, what you're studying, anything you'd like to
Sure.
share.
Yeah. My name is Luke. I'm a biomedical engineering major. I came to OU all the way back in 2019. I'm going to graduate next year, taking a fifth year because I like it here so much. But I got into esports because of my love of competition. I used to compete in other sports back in high school, and I missed out on that so much throughout college that I kept searching for an avenue to do that. And then one day, I think it was I either found it through Discord or just through OU Mass Mail, but I found out about it and said, you know what, this is something that I'm gonna just give a shot, see if I enjoy it, and then have now been spending most of the hours of the day doing it. So
No, I I understand that, and it takes a lot of dedication to learn some of these games, especially Overwatch. So, you're the position of tank, correct?
Yes, I'm the tank player.
So, what character is your favorite to play from the tank selection?
Oh, Winston, of course. The for those of you who don't know Overwatch, maybe you've seen a little bit. He's the giant gorilla with a electricity cannon, with a funny little shield. But that's why I play most of the time anyway. I play most of the tanks overall, but that one's easily my favorite.
Okay, no, that's amazing. So, Alo. How do
Hello,
I
yes.
say your name to say it properly?
Aloe, like the
Alo.
plant.
Okay.
I have
Um,
a plant back there too.
Because I have Aloy stuck in my head because
Really?
of the Forbidden West, and we
Horizon,
named our
yeah.
dog that. So it's just automatic coming that way. So
Yeah,
you
I
play
get that.
Splatoon. Tell
Yes,
us a
yeah.
little bit about yourself, your journey to getting into OU Esports, and what you're studying here.
Right, yeah. So I have been competing in esports for a while now, even before I got here at OU. So I started out with Smash, actually. I went around to a lot of locals here, in specifically OKC, back where I'm from. Eventually, I joined my high school's team and competed on that as the captain. And I had known about OU esports for a while. My brother attended OU, and he's currently media lead. So I kind of quickly knew about it. I am on the Smash team here, on the B team specifically. However, whenever I got here, Splatoon 3 just came out, and me and Ben just decided to put together a team because we found that a lot of people actually had interest in competing. So yeah, that's how I kind of got here. I am the Crimson captain for Splatoon. So
Nice. And is there a favorite character from Splatoon that you like to play?
yeah, so in Splatoon it's a 4v4. There's not really specific roles or anything that you play, but I typically play what's referred to as Slayers. These are the people that are going to be frontline flankers and skirmishers. So I play my main weapon that I like to play is the Dark Tetra duties. So to put it into maybe Overwatch terms, that's going to be your Tracer. This is the the weapon that can't be killed, the weapon that dies a lot, that comes back really fast, and is always in the field, always a nuisance. Uh, my role is to disrupt, get kills, get out. So
No, that sounds great and a great tactical strategy to have our slayers in multiple games across our different titles we have here. So that sounds like a lot of fun. And every time I watch it, just the color, I mean, it's just it's
yeah,
so much fun to watch. But I haven't even tried to put it on my Switch, so haven't given my hand to playing it. Need to do that one of these days.
hmm,
So, I'll go ahead and just put another question out and let you guys answer it, whoever would like to go first. Through your esports journey here so far, what is your favorite moment you've had since being part of a team?
there's been a few times. Before each season, we compete in the CCA, Collegiate Cephalopod Association. So before each season, there's a tournament that kind of gives an idea of like what rank everybody is. So we are currently Division 4 out of 7. Uh, so in the tournament, it's a Swiss bracket. So we played 3 matches. We won one because we got some pretty high seeded teams that we went up against, and so we were placed into the bronze bracket. We actually ended up. It was I think 5 straight hours of playing all the way to first in that bracket. So it was single elimination. We didn't lose a single game in that whole bracket. We lost a few. Well, sorry, we didn't lose any
Congrats.
sets. We lost a few games along the way, but overall we managed to take it all the way to first, and that was a really fun experience to share, but also really exhausting.
No, the long sitting there for hours
Oh yeah.
tournaments can really exhaust you out, whether it's virtually or even in person in a LAN. So yeah, no. Always a piece of advice I give everybody is not to have the controllers, with a battery, or if they are battery powered, make sure everything's plugged in a wire to some type of power, so you don't run out of power in the middle of those long marathon of games that happen. How about you, Luke? What's your favorite?
I haven't had quite nearly the career that most people have had, so a lot of my favorites are still kind of just my first. So I can still remember back to my very first scrims and very first matches and stuff like that. And honestly, I would still put those as my favorite moments right now. I've had a lot of really great times with my teammates outside of games, things like that. But really, just I think loading up for the first time and competing with after putting in the months of work with these people, loading up for the first time and competing with them is just there's no other feeling like it. It's just it's you finally feel all the fruits of your labor. You just there really is no feeling to describe it. So
No, I can concur with that. Something just clicked with competitive gaming when I started with Call of Duty, which is short time compared to most people playing Call of Duty. For me, it was just 3 years ago, so the 2019 game, and competing with other. For me, it was disabled veterans with Wounded Warrior Project, and I got into really enjoying 2v2 Search and Destroy, and then just started digging into the game from there. And like you, Luke, I saw a mass email about OU having the gaming club, and I wanted to know more about streaming, so I applied and had a nice long conversation with Moog, and he told me that if I would like to, he would give me a chance to start a Call of Duty team. So I'm the founding coach for the Call of Duty, and now I've moved up to where I am now. And yeah, it's there's so many great points. Like the first time I started the team competing, and for me, it's a different set of firsts that make me so proud because it was seeing those that I was teaching or trying to support grow in their aspects, or seeing the support that the college or our esports program and the leadership of the time gave to me as the coach trying to start something new. So that was a lot of kind of like for me too. It was a lot of firsts in my esports career um, that are definitely some of my favorite moments. So, life on campus. How are things? Do you all living in the dorms with a bunch of people? Things get noisy. How is life on campus at the University of Oklahoma?
Um, I'm in Cross right now, so it's very nice. I actually have my own room as compared to sharing a room with one other person. But it's not bad. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Uh, that's decent, I guess. I really wish I had a kitchen. I do really enjoy cooking, and it kind of bums me out that all we have is the community kitchen that nobody actually cleans. So, overall, I wouldn't say it's that bad, but
yeah, life on campus definitely has its ups and its downs for what you make of it. I live off campus now. I live in a rent house. But I there's definitely some nice parts of it, own room, own kitchen, own bathroom, but then there's also the parts you miss. It's when, like, all of your friends would live on campus and you would just you could just at the drop of a hat, just be like, "Hey, let's all just go do something now," and you could just walk and meet up and go do something fun. So I miss that part of it, but I definitely don't miss having to share everything with everybody and not being able to cook, having to deal with all those things myself. So there's good and bad to both, but I prefer living off campus now for sure.
No, I never lived on campus, never will. Just because as y'all know my story, I was military first, so I have a family, and yeah, no, I don't think I could do the whole dorm living. at least not for a long period of time. So uh, did enough of that in barracks at different bases across the country. So I'm guessing it's very similar, I guess, in the experience of having to learn to live with other people and just kind of having to learn each other's habits and figure things out. And now I'm have my peace and quiet most of the time. I mean, I do have teenagers, so it's not always as quiet as I would like, especially when one of them's a gamer and streamer, and he can get very loud when he's very into certain things that he's playing. Especially, there's certain horror games he plays that for no reason I'll be watching something and I'll hear him like have this scream and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And it's because of whatever horror game he was playing that did a jump scare onto him. Um, so we talked about favorite moments within OU Gaming Club. We talked about where you live. How about how about let's talk about trying to think. What do we want to what are your hopes for the future of esports, cuz I know everybody knows things are going to change even if they don't change as fast as we'd like them to. What are your hopes for the future, whether it be your game title or where you would like to personally get within esports or even here at the university?
Yeah, I guess for like the Splatoon team in general, we're looking at rising up into our divisions. So we just came out of a flawless season, and our playoffs are happening here pretty soon. So that will be this Sunday at 7 p.m. Please watch. uh, we we're also kind of looking to start obtaining some scholarships for our title. We've been getting some amazing results so far for our team. Really impressive for a team that just met up this year. Uh, this isn't our first flawless season. This is our second, uh, and we're hoping to get further than fourth this season. So, uh, for me personally, I guess I'm not really looking to do esports full time or anything. I just wanted to do it on the side. I consider myself actually a fighting game player primarily. However, we don't play fighting games in OU esports outside of Smash, which is kind of disappointing to me. I play a lot of Guilty Gear Strive specifically, so I'm hoping to maybe make something of that. Street Fighter 6 comes out soon, and then Grand Blue comes out. The next Grand Blue game comes out here pretty soon, so I'm hoping to start competing in those games as well. Uh, I don't know, being able to just stream as a competitive player would be nice overall. Once I graduate, just kind of as a side gig, hobbyist for the most part. So
No, I think that's really great with Splatoon being so new. I mean, come up with some guidelines. We talk about it. You know, you talk with me, talk with Josh,
mm,
and if there is a college competition, I mean, we're setting forth to let everyone know what the guidelines are to meet to set up a team. So if there's something you're passionate about, let us know, and if you can get a team together, we will let you compete. I mean,
yeah,
there's
for
going
sure.
to be some changes between varsity and academy instead of being crimson and black, but it's all about students' passion. And without student passion, we don't have teams. So if there's something you're passionate about, we should sit down and talk so we could see how to plug you in and grow you even more. So
For sure, for
that's
sure.
something we could talk about later. But for anybody else out there that may be watching the stream, if there's something you're passionate about in gaming, there's so much out here. Talk to me. I am available in Discord probably more than I should be, and I do answer my DMs. So let me know what you're interested in, and if you, after we have a chat, might see more things pop up here in the future. So take a chance. So how about with you, Luke?
I think specifically for Overwatch, I think coming up soon, I think it's time we bring home a tournament win of some sort. I think that's got to be our next goal. We've had some decently high places, some good looks, but at this next point, specifically in the Overwatch team, I think that's what we're all looking forward to next. For esports in general, I'm really happy with seeing how it's grown so far and how much more legitimate it's become to those within esports who are a part of it. I want to see the growth to people who are like casually know of it or maybe don't even know of it at all, to where it becomes more legitimized to them, because there's still so many people who you explain to them, you talk about how many hours you put in, you talk about the work you do, and they go,
for sure.
"So it's video games, right?" And you go, "I mean, technically, yes, but it's not what we do." And, as stuff like that happens, there'll be more support for it, and then in turn, more support means more financial support for the competitors and the coaches and everything like that, and better funding, and it's just one of those things where it hurts sometimes to put, you know, your heart and soul into it and then have someone reduce it down to a simple phrase like that and go, "It's just video games," but we love it, it's why we do it, we don't do it because people are gonna cheer our name or whatever, so, that's definitely something I would like to see as the program moves on, that people recognize the hard work that the directors and the coaches and everyone is putting into it.
No, I like that. There's a certain validation we're always looking for. Um, and yeah, it's hard, especially, for me. I had family be like, why?
Yeah.
Like what's the future in it? And then last year, my niece started playing competitively in League of Legends at her high school, and I loved how her mom put it because she had her brother come to her esports tournament, and he's like, "Why do I have to sit here and watch this?" Well, he's been playing football since he was like knee high to a grasshopper. And she looked at him, she's like, "All those hours your sister was forced to go to your practices and football games, you can spend a couple hours watching her play a tournament in something she's passionate about." And I was just like, great job,
Good
to my
parenting.
niece's mom, because that's hard to find. Having good support. What do y'all's parents think of this? Do they support it? Do they kind of sketchy? I don't know. Just kind of where does that come fall in for y'all?
Uh, yeah, my parents do kind of recognize this is something I am passionate about, something I put a lot of hours into. I've been playing video games since the Wii. Like Wii Sports was where I started, so it's always kind of been a big part of our lives and even like others of the family. Uh, they try to watch my games, but Splatoon is, if you don't play it, you can't. It's hard to understand it.
Get y'all
So
some commenters, the sport casters that can
for
help
sure.
explain it to everybody.
Yeah, my parents are very similar. They've recently started trying to figure out Overwatch, and I wish them the best of luck. But it's also led them into a whole new world of things. Like, I think about 2 months ago, my dad finally learned what Twitch was, and things like that. And it's just kind of crazy to think about how this whole world that I've been living in basically is just now being discovered to them. But I mean, they're supportive as much as they can be. My parents are very much stressed. Like, you can compete in whatever you want to as long as your academics stay in good standing. And so that's, student athlete kind of thing. It's just the way it works. But uh, they've been very supportive so far. They're not too keen on my my nickname, but we'll see where that one goes.
Okay. No,
Mm,
normally I've learned over the years, if I want to know where my son is, all I have to do is knock on his door first, because he's normally in there on his PC, if
mhm.
not having some type of discussion on Discord with people because he likes to debate, or he's playing some game, which he has a library of so many games on Steam that I never know what he's playing unless I directly act him. But I think it's amazing that you both have supportive parents, even if they don't understand it. At least they're supporting you with it. I guess going a little bit further than uh, the esports and supportive parents. Do you both play PC, console only? Do you have a preference? just because we're always debating that one is better than the other, and so I'd just like to know your thoughts on. I know Splatoon is played on the Switch, but do you play other games on PC, and do you have a preference between the two? And same with you, Luke. I know Overwatch is primarily played on a PC, but do you play other games on a console, and does it sway you one way or the other?
Yeah, for sure. I play basically all my fighting games on PC. So, but on the Switch, Splatoon, uh, like the Switch is nice because it has exclusives like Splatoon. But overall, I do actually prefer PC because it's just uh, much more customizable. I get to build it myself. My specs are mine. It's I don't have to buy a new one every 5 years. So it's like, but on the Switch, it's interesting. So I'm playing a shooter with a controller. And so normally on console, you play shooters with this stick. On Splatoon, you aim by doing this. There is gyro aiming. So I'm playing a weapon where you are dodging around constantly. So you sometimes you'll see me like this, trying to aim at the opponent. I would much rather have just a mouse. But like for a console, this works perfectly fine because while this is very uncomfortable, uh, it's so much better than trying to get this weird aiming on your right stick.
Oh, we just got a message in chat saying, according to your brother, the 2DS is the most superior console of all time. Any words back to that?
Vouch, look, the 2DS was where it is affordable, great games. It can play DS games, like backwards compatibility with that. Like you had like Kid Icarus Uprising, you had Smash on the DS, you had what else? Tomodachi Life. That game was awesome. There's a lot. I mean, like 2DS is great. I can't really like argue with that. For its time, it was really good.
No, that's great. How about you, Luke?
Uh, for me, I will make a quick comment about the 2DS thing. I'm sorry, but the Wii is always better to me.
Look,
So
the Wii is great.
the
Okay,
Wii is like my favorite console of all
that
time
is peak
ever.
console.
It just can't be beat. It really can't. I
You have
just
like Esports,
oh, so good. So many good hours on the Wii.
Kirby Civic
But
Yarn.
mhm. But I definitely prefer mouse and keyboard. I cannot aim with a joystick to save my life. I hated them. I understand some people like them. I just never was. I don't know if I just have bad thumb control or what. I don't know. Couldn't do it. Couldn't aim at all. I love mouse and keyboard. I love the customization I can get with it with PC and things like that. I think I have a Switch as well. I don't play Splatoon, and I've never used gyro aiming. It doesn't look like something that I would enjoy. Um, but I think the only thing I still use that is just a few Switch games like Mario Party and stuff like that. But definitely at this point, prefer mouse and keyboard. Use it whenever I can, and I'm never going back.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. And you talk about the Wii. Wii was predominant, like huge deal when I had surgery from the military. So it was like 2007, 2008. And I tell you what, even when I couldn't get up and move around, I got really good with the flick of the wrist for bowling and for tennis on the Wii. I remember I used to love the Fable games, and they came out with a Fable Wii where you had to like squat and move around. Before we had VR and Beat Saber, so I always thought the Kinect, not the Kinect, gosh, but with the Wii, because it would control or move you because it knew where you were standing because of the handheld controls for the Wii. It was a great stepping stone into what became VR later on, I think. So let's swing back to, I guess, some of your experiences as students. Where's the best place to eat on campus? On campus, campus quarter, within a vicinity that you can get to.
I might be biased since I live in Cross, but the Cross restaurants, specifically, what's it called? There's a really nice wrap place down there that has good, decent enough food. Uh, um, Google, help me.
don't know the Cross restaurant. I think there's one called Credos. Maybe that's the one. But
Yeah, Cruise is fine. It's not
I
the
don't.
best here.
I was when I came to OU, it was that weird period of time when Cross was still like kind of its own
Yeah, yeah.
thing, and all the restaurants closed down. And now since I've reopened, I haven't had any of them. So
Anything favorite from Norman, or maybe even Grubhub, Uber Eats? Maybe
I
talk
mean,
about if there's a preference in that vicinity, because food is a big part. We got to make sure we eat, and it's so nice to have things delivered when you're in the middle of a long game session sometimes. So maybe some differences there.
Yeah. Uh, Since I'm kind of tied to a meal plan, I can't really eat anywhere but on campus. So I don't really order a lot from around the city. I just kind of pay with meal swipes, pay with points. Just kind of try and make the most out of the money I spent on that. So
uh, for me, they just opened it up on Campus Corner, but Cane's always has a special place in my heart because like when I first came here, that was back when the Canes was still open in Adams Tower, and it would be open until 3 in the morning. And someone with a very bad sleep schedule, I needed that really badly. So a lot of 2 a.m. Canes runs. That's basically what kept me going in that time. But then also on Campus Corner, sandwiches from Pickleman's are really solid. I enjoy Pickleman's a lot. I don't eat too much directly on campus anymore because I don't have points or a meal plan anymore. But I really enjoyed Quiznos when we had it, especially those 2 weeks this year when it opened for 2 weeks again and then closed right back down. But I miss it. I miss Quiznos.
I enjoy Picklemans a lot too. There's a couple of their salads that I almost get at least once or twice a month. So yeah, I'm on point there with Picklemans. Canes, it tastes great, but I'm trying to stay away from the fried
I
side of
understand.
things, so I don't go in there as often as a lot of other people do there on campus. But let's see. Aloe, you said you like to cook. What
I
is your
do, yes.
favorite, like, is there a style of cooking? Is there a favorite dish? Baking? What's your
Uh,
passion there?
yeah, stovetop cooking is really fun for me. Stir fry is really easy to make. Just like rice or noodles, cut up some vegetables, chicken, mix a bit of sauce together, and then put that all in a pan and just cook it there. Uh, what else? It has been so long since I've gotten to cook. uh, I mean, like, if I have a grill available, burgers are fun to make. Uh, my family likes to hunt sometimes, so my dad and my brother typically have venison available for me, so deer meat, for those who don't know. That actually makes really good burgers. You mix it with a bit of sausage, actually. So it's venison and sausage patties, and just grill it, and that makes some really, really good burgers. It's not super greasy. It's not like it's less chewy. It's got more flavor. So I don't know. Those are really good to me.
Got a couple questions from chat for both of you. Have you played analog traditional sports or been part of any team based programs growing up? If yes, what commonalities do you find between esport team structures and those of your previous experiences?
I've played pretty much every traditional sport you can growing up. I played football, basketball, baseball, soccer at some point. I played a lot of golf. That was the main one I played. Um, but really from like a team standpoint, it's very, very similar. In fact, probably the only difference is with a lot of sports is you're required to in esports, you're required to know your team better than you would be in normal sports. Because a lot of times in what they do is they divide it up into just like everyone can kind of just do their job. In football, it's you versus your man. In golf, it's just kind of you play the game. But in esports, it's like you have to be a team. There is no I can just do this one thing and we're good. It truly is a more extreme test of how good your team is. Um, and then the overall team dynamic, it's like it's still like you get to know them. They're still like you still hang out and stuff like that. I just think the coolest thing about esports is it doesn't feel like there's a set time when you see people because it feels like for most of us there's maybe you scrim for 2 hours and then usually right after that everyone just hangs out for another two just in Discord. So feels like time flies and just hanging out with your friends. So
I the only thing really that I've done, I was not physically gifted. I am tiny, so I played soccer whenever I was like 7. That's really about it. Uh, as for like team stuff, I have done like a few academic competitions, like National History Day, uh, a few science projects here and there. I mean, like, esports has really been it for me. That has been kind of my thing. Like, I was with OTC PAL. They're a police athletic league association for where a lot of police officers get together with a lot of kids. I ran the esports division for that. So I helped out with running streams, running brackets. I taught the officer that worked with us, Sergeant Pena. He was great to work with. So I mean, like that was really a lot of my experience was just working in teams on that aspect. But I have never really done anything like super athletic or anything.
No, I think that's great. When I think back to team sports, I wasn't an athletics sports person either, but I did do color guard with JROTC in high school, and you do have to get to know each other because you have to move when they move, and you're literally shoulder to shoulder, foot to foot. Um, so in correlation of just understanding people, having good communication, and in that case, it was silent communication in a lot of ways. So you really had to get to know your team members. That kind of correlation really does kind of match up with what we try to teach you about communication, calling out things, how open communication is so important. Even though it was different types of communication, I think that type of correlation between teams working together is a very important concept that does transcend no matter what kind of team you're on. Another question we have from the chat is both of your team's cultures have been caught on socials hanging out away from playing the games. Who is the most interest character within your team's cultures?
Well, we've got one. Uh, his name is Tanner. Tanner, if you're watching, shout out to you. uh, he is our roller player. So, but he also does mascot stuff. If that gives you any idea about his energy, he is our hype man. we, uh, anytime there's like, he's such a joker. Uh, and then there's Ben, our manager. He's also quite the character. Uh, I remember hearing a story about him. I accidentally bumped into one of his roommates one time, and I heard a story about how somebody rubbed him the wrong way. So he got a jar of honey, like put a light layer of it on their doorknob, and so anytime they used the door, the hand was always sticky, and they never knew why. So it we have a lot of interesting people. Uh, so it's a very interesting dynamic within our team. I have never been in something quite like it.
it's a very similar thing with our team. It's just full of characters. I'll just name a few. A lot of people who are familiar with the sports community know Quinn. Was in charge of the social media takeover when they went to Kentucky. He's very well known around the scene. He's quite the character, that's for sure. He's our team extrovert, as we call him. It's just kind of like whenever something like this usually comes up, he's all over it. He's just a lot of fun to be around. He knows how to bring spirits up. Uh, he's he's a little goofy sometimes. I won't go into it too much, but he just brings an energy about him that's just infectious. I mean, that's the way it is. Also shout out our assistants coach, Kale Frago. I met him like 8 months ago at this point, I think, and I've just I've just hung out with him like every day since. He's a really good guy. He's just like he's just awesome to be around. Like, that's the whole team is so much fun to be around, but there's just so many guys that are like they bring they show their whole personality. They bring all of it to esports, and it's really cool to see. So
No, I think when I think back of characters from when I was part of COD, Ajax is the one that comes to mind for me. And since being part of COD, Ajax has tried and been a part of almost every pillar except for news and media, I think, so far. Within our esports program, he's always laughing. He always, just makes people feel better. He always wants to be involved. Um, so much so that he has his own buttons on our Twitch to make him hydrate or eat or whatever he may be doing, which I don't know. He just always brings so much joy to the room when he's around running an event or starting a new team or starting a new endeavor. So shout out to Ajax, from my perspective when I think of a character, that would be my answer there. Um, any closing remarks you'd like to make? You guys would like to talk about maybe a story to share? We do have, I'd say, maybe another 10 minutes or so before I have to switch over and get the next panel set up. So, um, anything else y'all would like to share?
Oh, um, I had something on my mind, but then I just kind of forgot.
I actually have a question for both of y'all because this is something I haven't gotten to experience, and y'all have kind of been a part of both of it. Where I went to high school and stuff like that, esports just kind of wasn't a thing like anywhere around it. So, what was it like to like kind of be a part of something from the ground up when it comes to esports? Like I was fortunate enough to join this when it was already pretty well established, but what was it like to really get kind of like go wheels up at a program like that? So,
I basically ran the esports program in my high school. I was captain of Overwatch, Clash Royale, and Smash. Not always by skill, but usually by maturity because high schoolers. And usually I was the only one who was consistently eligible for the sports. So it was stressful, but a lot of fun. I remember I somehow got the Clash Royale team to state. Uh, we placed third, if I remember correctly. Yes, third. Uh, I it was a long kind of experience. It's a lot of fun. It kind of like how sports are for a lot of people in high school. That was esports for me. So that was kind of like a secondary group of friends for me. A lot of people that I got to work with. It was also a lot of opportunities for me. Moog came to my school, paid me a visit actually. So that's how I really met him in person for the first time. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a great question, Luke. Like, really great question. They even mentioned it in the comments here, so that was a well thought. How about you, Aloe? Is there anything you'd like to ask or something you'd like to mention?
Uh, hmm. I should probably ask because I actually, I even though I play fighting games on PC, I basically only use a controller. So for those of you who use mouse and keyboard, like how hard is it for you to like switch between controller and mouse and keyboard for like depending on what game you play?
so just to clarify real quick, you mean like switching between mouse and keyboard on a specific game? Like if I were to play
Yes, yes, on
Overwatch
a
on
specific
console?
game. Yeah.
Um, there's definitely a learning curve to it. But I feel like it's kind of one of those things that you spend enough time doing it anything, you'll get used to it.
Yeah,
It's a preference thing. I'd say the hardest thing is um like getting everything set up to way that it fits to you. I know for a lot of people, myself included, I had my settings messed up for probably the first 6 months to a year. I played on crazy high DPI, all kinds of wrong keybinds, and once you can kind of get those things understood, I feel like you will reach the level you were on a controller very quickly and then surpass it. And then to go back, I feel like it's harder to go back now just because it feels like I once I'm already better at the other at one way, it's kinda once I go back, I'm like, I feel like I should be able to do more, but I can't. But definitely playing some other games on controller, it's just kinda like you get used to what you do a lot, so, like, when I was playing a lot of controller, it didn't seem so weird, now it seems very weird. But again, it's just all about what you practice, so it takes
yeah.
time, but not too bad.
Because one of the main things that a lot of people complain about Splatoon, and why a lot of, like, especially veteran shooter players turn away from the game, is gyro controls. Like, I remember back in Splatoon 1, I had the Wii U gamepad, and I had this big clunky thing that I was moving around, and it took me a while to actually kind of get it down, but eventually I got it. I was maybe like, what, 14 whenever Splatoon 1 came out? So, I mean, like, I've been doing this for years. Uh, but like for somebody, I've had friends who I'm like, hey, you should try Splatoon. Here, I'm gonna pass the controller off to you. They're like, oh, what is happening? As the screen just kind of rotates all around. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's always kind of interesting to see people try and transfer from like what they know about controlling the gyro, and then you watch a lot of streamers too. Like, I remember specifically Germa, yeah, Germa.
Mhm.
He tried Splatoon, and he was like, he immediately recognized that gyro controls are very difficult, but he made a comment that this is the way to play. I can't do it. Is exactly what he said. So I'm like, interesting. It's always interesting to me just to watch kind of new people try and adapt to this kind of weird way to play controls.
Yeah, I find that really interesting because I've never gotten very used to mouse and keyboard except for with games like WoW. Um, I played console up until maybe last fall when I finally got a gaming laptop. And then even then, it wasn't conducive to mouse and keyboard. And now I finally have a gaming PC. And then what I got passionate about with Call of Duty, competitive can't play with mouse and keyboard. They consider it to give an advantage, so they make everybody play from controller no matter because what console or PC you're playing from to try and keep it an even playing field. So um, see if I can up my game here now that I have a PC to play around with. So, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and close this up with our great players here. Thank you so much for coming by. So, we have again Aloe and Luke that joined me here for this panel for this last almost full hour of discussing. So, it was a great conversation. I'm so happy there wasn't a lot of ahs, oohs, don't know what to say. So, that was great. It was a nice flow going on here. So I appreciate it so much. Um, can't wait to see what else we do. I'm glad we have you around for a little bit longer, Luke. You know, that fifth year can be important. So it'd be really great to see what happens here after this summer. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm going to go ahead and put up that be right back so I can get everything switched over. You guys are great. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we'll see y'all in a few minutes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
met diverse. I played originally for the R6 team as just a player. Then I was a captain of the B team, and then I started up Splatoon not too long ago, just this past semester. And now I'm the coach of Splatoon as I also play on the Crimson roster.
Okay, Mario, let you go next.
I'm Mario Mirinda, other known as Super Mario. I look over the iRacing team at OU, and I'm a freshman, and I am a meteorology major.
Jonathan, go ahead.
My name is Jonathan Tran or Jay Tran. I'm the coach of Madden at OU. I pl- I started OU Esports as a player, and now I'm just kind of just coaching and trying to help develop sports titles as a whole at OU for the esports program. And I'm a sports business major.
Phoebe, last but not least.
Hi, I'm Phoebe, also known as Destiny. I am a senior studying classical studies. I started out with OU Esports on the Overwatch team as a player, and I helped found the Apex Legends division as one of the varsity starters, and I'm now the coach.
Well, thank you for those great introductions. I'll start with some questions and someone can pop in and then maybe get some more individual questions as we move on. Um, keep it short and sweet, kind of like we did earlier. As some of you have taken over titles, some of you have started titles. What has been your most memorable moment so far in your esports journey?
Sure, I'll go first. I probably have two between the two teams that I've played. For Siege, I came in as a freshman, and we on B team lost every single game, no contest, every single time. But eventually, finally, we won our first game, and all of us got together. We went out to dinner with each other, and it was all around just like a really fun time. And for Splatoon, being able to actually like start a team and have so many different players come to me and say how much they were looking forward to actually playing before I started the team, and just seeing the amount of people that actually came to our tryouts was pretty amazing.
I guess I can go. I'm definitely the youngest coach, I think, out of everyone. It's kind of weird being a freshman and, you know, being a coach, but it's only me on the team, so I guess I'm coaching myself, but it's still a learning process. But I think most memorable is like trying to start a program before I even got here at OU. I kind of, as a senior in high school and then graduating, I reached out to our head like Mike and started to set something up to have like an iRacing program, and that was pretty fun just being at such a young age and having that responsibility and seeing it pan out. So I'm really looking forward to like the next 4 years I have here at OU to try something and get something off the ground rolling.
I got next. Okay, my favorite memory that I've had was definitely the first time the Apex team ever won a game. It was like 3 weeks in, and we all of our games were just terrible. We were trying our best. We weren't doing very well. And then by some stroke of luck, we won a game, and it was the the excitement could be felt in my players' voices. It was phenomenal seeing the excitement and the drive they had because they came back to me the very next day and said, "Hey, I want to get better now. What can I do?" I said, "All right, we'll get started. We'll start, analyzing gameplay and stuff." But the sheer amount of excitement they had from that single win was enough to propel them for weeks into the future. And I'm really excited to see where they go from there.
I would say my most memorable moment was probably just competing. This was before I was like officially part of the OU esports program. I played in the level next Madden tournament and placed pretty high. And then I guess now like the recruiting side, trying to get some of the best players in the world to come play at OU. I think that's been the probably the most memorable thing so far.
No, I think that's great. Talking of starting things from scratch, both Ben and Mario, different experiences going on with your startups. This year specifically, um, was it was the process, did you find the process hard? Did you find it fairly simple to figure out? Was it nerve-wracking? I guess give us some of the pointers you had with starting something brand new this last fall.
I think it was kind of nerve-wracking because I didn't want to mess anything up coming in, because there's like a lot of attention towards me. It felt like because um, I always wanted to perform well and do well, but it honestly was not that bad of a process. I had a lot of people helping me and creating the rules and the outlines of what to do and what not to do in the terms of iRacing, and now I'm trying to create a rubric on like how to recruit players if that ever comes to like fruition, if I need to recruit players, like a rubric I can use to rank players, which I don't know if anyone else in like the country has like an iRacing program like we do now. So it's kind of cool to, be the first one to do it. And I'm just like always like smile about it every time I talk about it.
That's
Yeah,
fabulous.
I'm definitely the same way. Starting up was it was pretty easy, and it was Mike made it very like well thought out and very streamlined to do. But it was really hard because we have to have a collegiate tournament to join in. Splatoon 3 being so new, everything was still on Splatoon 2. So at the same time, when I was gathering players, I was also talking to different league heads and be like, "Hey, is this an actual like? Is this league still a thing? Y'all didn't like dissolve in the 3 years that Splatoon 2 was really at its peak." Um, and just kind of making sure that like, because I didn't originally, it was just four of us who were just saying, "Hey, let's just compete together for fun." And then I decided to take it a little too far and go, "Hey guys, now we have an esports team." And then I had 14 people show up to my tryouts, which I did not expect at all. So now I manage both Crimson and Black, and it's been a lot of fun just seeing how people have been developing and writing rules and getting the whole startup behind starting an actual team instead of starting from somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's great. The initiative everyone's putting in, um, which made me think of another question. As coaches, working with, because each of you have a different TO or tournament organizer that you guys go through to get into your tournaments, different series that you all play in. Do you find it difficult, or what difficulties have you found because nothing is set, because it is such a wild west of esports? Maybe tell us some of the difficulties you've had either with finding tournaments or not having that difficulty. Because I know there's been some between some of you and others may not. So I'd like to hear the different sides of the story.
I've got some great experience in this one. So it would have been last fall when Apex was trying to get started up again for the fall after the summer break. And when I was reaching out to our tournament organizer from the spring, I said, "Hey, are we still like doing this stuff for the fall?" And they said, "Actually, our department has folded. You're going to need to find someone else to do this through." I said, "Oh, okay." So I start looking around a little bit, didn't find anything. Look some more, didn't find anything. We were almost to the point where we were like, "Well, what do we do with the rest of our semester?" When I had a guy reach out from, I think it was UTD, and they were like, "Hey, I know that OU has an Apex team. Do you want to help me start this collegiate league?" I was like, "I would love to." So that's how we got started with the Octane Collegiate League, which has been around for about 2 months now. It's really going, and we are very excited to actually bring a real collegiate scene to Apex because EA doesn't really support it themselves. So we're kind of having to put it on ourselves as the community. So really excited to be spearheading that.
No, I think that's amazing what you've done because, we were worried, were we going to have to put Apex away for a little bit because there was no tournaments for you guys, and I was willing to stick it out and see if anything happened, but we
We
had
pulled
to be.
through.
And I think that's amazing because I know how worried you were. Anyone else?
I
Oh,
go
go
for
for it.
it.
Oh. I think all the sports titles, it's pretty hard to find tournaments. I've been wanting to start a 2K team, the NBA 2K team for our program, and it doesn't seem like there's really any tournaments out there for that as of right now. Madden, there's one big one, and then there's like the ECAC, but I don't even think there's any like prize money in that one. So I'm hoping to start some kind of league that the sports titles can play in. So it's been tough.
And I've had the kind of similar experience to JTran is because Splatoon we only have one league headed by like four or five now more staff. But if that league were to fold, we don't have a tournament to start anymore. So there's always been that thought of just giving people a backup because there's so many teams actually in this. But it was a little scary because they weren't certain if they were going to come back for the spring, and we would have been up the creek without a paddle.
No, finding the right league. The first semester I was a coach, TESPA was still a thing, and TESPA folded under in the middle of that semester. Um, Luckily, every spring we have the Call of Duty College League (CCL), which isn't going anywhere. It's done nothing but grow every year since it started. But yeah, going out there and finding things can be hard. Having to do that the Google search and the research and talk to other schools and see what they're doing, I think is a big part of. So as coaches here, we had a question from chat. What is the biggest struggle that you've faced as a coach so far?
I would say my biggest struggle is actually turning people down, um, because as Mike gave me some great wisdom as Splatoon started of this is your first time as a dev lead. You can't have three teams across the board as you're starting. So we had to turn a few people down originally, and it was kind of hard to do. Telling people that I've tried out, like took the time out of their day to come to my uh, meet and say, "Hey, sorry, we don't have the space, and some other people beat you out."
I've had similar things where my biggest problem was stretching myself way too thin across the rosters that I did bring in. So, as someone that's been doing it for a while, I was allowed to have three teams when I started last fall. And trying to equally spread myself out among 9 players in 7 days and trying to give each person I'll sit down for an hour with you, we'll look at stuff, we'll give you stuff to improve on in this week. And it was just really difficult stretching myself that thin and trying to get that to work. But we were able to get it to work eventually.
No, over commitment or having the problem of saying yes and not saying no. I have similar issues. I like to please everybody, or at the same point, try to take on many tasks so that I'm not letting anybody down. Um, so that's why, I came up with talking, between Mike and Josh, we talk and we came up with the idea of giving you a letter to let them know that they didn't make the team because of whatever reason that might be. One, because it makes it look more official than you just kind of tell them, sorry. And two, so that you guys kind of had a template to help you kind of break the news without maybe having that talk, because some teams get so many people they can't even let all of them try out. So having that letter so nobody's left hanging wondering like I didn't even get a notice when tryouts were, what happened, kind of bridged a couple gaps there so that we can make sure everybody is in the know-how without stressing my coaches out too much. Um, what as coaches, you use your team or you play with your teams, you grow your teams. What's the correlation between, I guess, the gaming club side, the community side, and the importance from that to coaching a team and having players?
I can say for me, it's more about just trying to get people to know about racing and like what iRacing is. There's a lot of people. There's like a lot of misinformation, which is not bad misinformation, but it's like what kind of racing exactly? Are you like Formula One or like GT racing or NASCAR? And then it's like, how could you like sit for 2 hours and just drive in a circle? Which is like the most common thing I hear ever. But I my goal is just kind of get people to know more of it. And I've seen some involvement, like the community service talking about racing, and just hopefully I get more people to race in the college spectrum because like I know a lot of guys who race outside of college, and like for me, even though I'm a coach, I have a team outside of college that I own with a friend of mine, and we kind of just try to help drivers like build and just be a better driver in all, just both on and off the track, and hopefully I can correlate those to like what I have going on now, in my next 4 years of college.
Yeah, I like that. You also have a unique experience because your gaming setup is unlike anybody else's in our competitive side. Would you like to explain a little bit what it takes to partake in iRacing?
Money a little bit. It took me about a year to save up to actually start iRacing because unlike another like a conventional gaming setup, you just have like a PC monitor, keyboard, and mouse. I have to add another $1,000 on equipment, like steering and pedals and shifters, and like you can see my wheel right here. Like this is my wheel I use that I can just take off, but this is what I have currently, and this in itself is almost $300, and you just need like that passion to actually save that money and not use it for something else. Like it definitely took convincing my parents, like, hey, I'm gonna use my paycheck for this, um, and then outside of that, it's kind of like a lonely esport. You don't have you technically have teammates, but you're by yourself in the car. You don't really have comms throughout the race with other people. But um, yeah, you just have to have the motivation to save the money and eventually buy your first sim rig. And there's some guys who cut corners and like build their own, but I wanted to make sure that I could have a sim rig that could last me like 10, 15 years.
So, for those that don't know what a sim rig is, it's literally a setup that holds the chair, monitors, everything, correct?
Yes, yes. So like, I have my racing chair, and this is like, I don't want to move my camera because I'm too lazy to set it back up again.
No, you're
But I
good.
have I have a shifter to my right here below me, and then there's pedals that are by my feet, and then all is kind of like connected by kind of like a steel frame to make sure like you don't have like excessive shaking of your monitor or camera.
You've turned your dorm room into an arcade.
Oh, dude, it's literally 40% sim rig, 50% bed, and maybe 10% like my desk over there. I can barely like move my desk or like move my chair out of the way to like work on homework.
Studying's the hobby. We're here to race.
Exactly. Priorities. I can't get this wheel back on. Oh, there we go.
So, speaking of studying, and the importance of education, because we're all at a university for a reason, how do you, as coaches, balance that spot between your competitors, running your teams, and staying on top of your studies?
Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest task in the world. We meet with one of the leaderships, Josh, um, who has taught us a lot of good tips and tricks, and I know helped me out because I had a very hard time actually dividing my time and saying, okay, after this time, I'm not answering calls anymore. I'm not, uh, giving my full attention to esports because every waking minute on Siege, whenever someone was like, hey, I need someone to run ranked with or something, I'd be like, okay, I'll come help you for run ranked and play with you, so we're not just playing solo queuing into oblivion and just getting nowhere. But now after 10 o'clock, stop answering. I just tell them, you can write it down, tell me tomorrow. I'll be there 8 o'clock like I normally am. But after 10, I got to do my own stuff.
Anyone else have anything about how they balance or what they're doing? Or are they not quite balancing as much as they should be?
I choose to not answer this question.
I had a rough time trying to balance everything, but I just recently switched majors. So I think finding the balance was also was like finding where I belong, like scholastically. I was an electrical engineering major when I first started, and I don't know. And then there was like that. There was a time where I was trying to compete while coaching, while trying to balance school. So I'm just trying to put my focus into coaching and school now, and it's been working out a lot better this semester.
No, that's good to hear that, time management skills can be learned, even though we struggle with them at first or for quite a hot minute. Um, how do you go about building your teams, or in the process of Jonathan and Mario building the thought process or rubric for those that will follow behind if you decide to not compete anymore, like Jonathan has, or to run more than one tournament scene so that you can have more than one racer? How do you go about, I guess, selecting and choosing what's best?
I think I think every team is supposed to have like a set of rules that we all kind of share like a Google Docs with, and it's like just like the base rules. I pretty much copy and paste off of Apex, and just change the wording a little bit. I was told that was okay, and I just kind of like I changed what needed to be changed, but whoever wrote it really well. But and then other than that, I do my best to like look at racers and try to see what I would want on the team. I have a lot of exposure to racing with other drivers, both in sim and in real life, and I'm trying my best to like figure out what's the best way of recruiting. And even though I have no one right now, I hope to have more. But I'm only 19, and I still am being coached by other people, not directly, but just through lessons of succeed and failure. Like tonight, I had a pro race. Oh, I botched it so bad. Like I'm still trying to learn, but um, stuff happens. But you can't learn without failure. So I'm trying
Can't
to,
win them all.
yeah, so I'm trying to fail more and win less, and hopefully that'll translate into finding drivers who can fail less than I do and win more than I do.
Yeah, I've got a pretty similar take that Mario had because I think for my I don't know constitution for Madden, I basically copied Apex's also and just changed everything to like be related to Madden.
I'm carrying this
Um,
program.
yeah, you
You
are.
are, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very passionate about bringing sports, especially Madden, and then with EA coming with collegiate football. I feel like it's like so important to have at like a big university of Oklahoma, like that's known for football and stuff. And so I think it just would naturally translate very well. I've been lucky enough to where I've kind of made a name for myself in like the pro comp scene of Madden to where um, we've had like 3 players that are currently in high school reach out to Mike and myself that are like, one was top 15, the other I would say was top 10, and then the best player just recently hit us up. Like he's like a 17-year-old kid that just won like $200,000 playing Madden. And so like the future is so bright with and Madden isn't a varsity sport, so these are people that are willing to come play and pay to come play. So um yeah, I mean I'm really excited for the future, and all I can do is just I guess, coach whoever comes from all the mistakes I've made as a player and as a student at OU, and try to make sure they are in the best position to succeed when they get here.
No, I think that's great that you have students reaching out to you like that. I know that personally, I heard from someone who works at OU who has a son who plays states in Oklahoma who had a walk with you, who is super excited but is very indecisive as to whether or not they want to go to college. But the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that
I'm very excited. Yeah, I've reached out to him also. He ended up being the Oklahoma State champion, and you know, it's a weird thing because Madden, when you play it, it's like similar to Mario, I guess. It's a one person kind of thing. So, but I'm hoping to be able to put a roster of like three together next year, and yeah, I don't know. It's just fun, like going out to the high school state championships this past semester, and meeting everybody and talking to parents and coaches, and I don't know, it's fun.
so going forward, what are you looking forward to the most in the future of OU Esports, and what might you be nervous about moving forward? Because we have changes coming, and y'all know most of what's coming in our near future. So, would you like to talk about what you're excited the most for, and what you may be a little uh, nervous coming forward or put on your plate?
Yeah, I'd also like to add that instead of taking Apex's bylaws, I took Mario's and made it apply to
which were
14
mine.
people. Which yeah, were Phoebe's intern, so I guess Apex really is carrying the whole program. Um, I'm really excited for our new venue that's coming out. It's because currently Splatoon, we all play in different parts of Norman. Like I'm at my apartment, four of my players are in the dorms where their Wi-Fi drops out every other hour.
Oh god, the dorms.
One of them's in OKC. So just having that venue and the ability for all of us to play together is something I'm really excited for.
I'm also super excited for the venue. As someone whose main job is teaching, it's kind of hard when you can't explicitly point at something and say, like look at this. We need to fix this exact thing. I have to like kind of move my mouse cursor. And it's like we need to imagine a box around this. So be able to have a physical space that I can call mine and have an area where I can actually have my players dedicated to. All right, let's sit down. Let's get some games in. Let's go over the tournament from last weekend. Let's see what we can improve on that. It's just very exciting that esports has gotten to a place where we're no longer just people sitting in our apartments. We're going to have a dedicated space that's going to be specifically designed for us so that we can succeed.
Yeah, I'm also excited for the venue. Like I think everyone is, but I think for me it would be really nice or helpful with recruiting because, like I said earlier, it's very expensive to get into iRacing, and having proposed two sim rigs to use would be super helpful in the recruiting process because it's kind of hard to like you guys have the opportunity to go to high schools and events that host like high school collegians. I don't think any high school would want to drop 10K on two sim rigs for maybe a kid to race and not race any other high schoolers. Um, I mean, when I was in high school, I did this, and when I was in high school, I was so desperate to find competition. I tried to enroll in a college race, and they're like, "No, you used a public school email, so we knew right away what you were trying to do." So,
Did not pull the wool over their eyes.
the Tulsa Public Schools email did not work. But I can't wait to use that as a recruiting process. Like, I know some kids may use like $300 setups, and having the opportunity to use like a four-figure setup to increase their skills and like kind of see their skills at good use. But I'm also nervous that it would be hard to find those kids who do iRace and who want to do it competitively to the next level because it is kind of like a niche sport, and it's kind of hard to find talented enough drivers who would move out of state or move within the state to race.
And I think the best part of the venue is that it's not just for collegiate. And actually having other people, it kind of helps all of us see, because if we're just in the lab or the space one day and we see someone destroying at Splatoon, I can be like, hey, why aren't you on my competitive roster yet? Um, and I know I'm excited to try iRacing because I don't have space for a setup, nor do I have the money. But
Me neither.
it allows all of us to kind of try each other's games, because no one really wants to buy a Switch or a whole PC setup just to play Apex or Splatoon.
And that means we can do teams versus teams and like a wheel spin of whatever pops up you'll have to figure out. I think that will be fabulous when we have a venue.
Ben, you and
Yeah.
me, Rocket League.
I
Rocket
want to
League?
see it.
Oh,
Rocket League.
I think
Never played it before.
the
yep, never
content we
played
could
it.
produce is going to be insane
Yeah.
once we get a venue. Kind of like, I'm not sure if you guys know about OTK. It's like
Oh
a
yeah.
stream team. Like we would be able to produce so much content and be able to bring so many more eyes onto OU, not just the competitive side, but like really build a community once this venue is built. You know, just have like game nights or like whatever, like Apex versus Splatoon in Madden or something. You know what I mean? So like there's so many opportunities for like really cool content coming up, and that's what I'm really excited about.
So, as we move on from content, venue, dreams coming forward, what are you guys thinking about processes for improvement, whether it be with your teams or even in the structure of how we do things with coaches and management? I mean, is there some things you guys are looking at? Is there some things you are just kind of waiting for because we don't have the venue? As it was put in chat, you can do in-person VOD, and if you have questions about it, Thumper said ask him. So he can tell you how to do in-person VOD now, and part of that has to do with letting me know so I can book a room for you. Um, but I don't know. We're about to be at the end of the school year, which means ratification. We're gonna go through all our processes and kind of see what needs to be updated. What are you guys thinking now that you have this last year under your belt for improvements?
Maybe for me, try to find a way to promote it more. I know there's like fine rules on like recruiting high schoolers and like rules or things you can and cannot do. And as like I'm still trying to learn that because I think I know the boundaries, but I'm biased because I graduated less than a year ago from high school. So what I think is appropriate may not be appropriate. So maybe like try to find a way to promote it more to where there is more curiosity in what iRacing really is because I would really like to see it grow because like I think I said earlier too like we're one of the I think OU is like the first in the nation to have an iRacing program to this extent to where it's like promoted and you know I got put on the Twitter page a couple times for like play of the week and like, having like support because I know some guys I race in college um, they're allowed to run the scheme because they attend there. They don't run the scheme because they're an actual player. So I'm one of the few who actually gets to play for OU, not or represent OU, and not just drive their logos on a track. So maybe find a way to promote it more to that extent, and even get backing to where I think that's a huge thing for like sponsorship to have like a fully backed racing program. To then we might get talent from all over the nation trying to drive.
Yeah, and what Mario was saying really segues into what I was going to say. I'm really looking forward to. We've had some talks amongst all of us devs about fundraising and actually getting money for our team. And Splatoon, where we've put together a plan to fundraise. Hopefully next week, we're going to do a bake sale, but just being able to have a financial backing, because I think teams who like work well together are teams that actually get to talk outside of the game and actually have an incentive to play. So whenever my team wins, we all go out to Canes. I don't know why that became our ritual, but it has. So just being able to like say to my players, "Hey, y'all put in 20 hours of Splatoon this past week and beat one of your toughest opponents. We can go get dinner and you don't have to pay for it because I know they're putting in hours into Splatoon that they could have been working instead." And it kind of means a lot for me for being able to for my players to say, "Hey, mom, look, I'm actually like I can make money, and this program isn't just for fun. We're actually doing something and winning, and I'm able to support them."
I think that's a great plan, and yeah, we're hoping South Oval tabling if we can to get you fundraising that bake sale, and everybody likes cookies and brownies and whatever else sweets you
I'll
might have
buy
there.
a cookie,
So
that's for sure.
I'm making iRacing one just for you.
Oh, I'm
But
definitely buying.
With how the season has been going for Splatoon, I assume you guys go to Canes very often.
we actually haven't gone in a bit. For those don't know, come Sunday we're in the semifinals and we've gone flawless so far. Uh, yeah, I don't think any of our wallets can support going to Canes that often, which
Four
is a
times
good
a week.
which is a good problem to have. Um, so hopefully this bake sale I'll be able to buy back their love and in many rounds of chicken fingers.
well, you let me know what happens on Sunday, and if I have to buy the team a pizza dinner, you let me know. I will fund a pizza dinner for your team for
I'm
that.
sure they'd be ecstatic.
So you just let me know what happens this weekend.
I
Which
will.
I mean, we have our Discord channel where we do promote whether we win or lose, but let me know and we'll set that up because that's super
It will
exciting.
be streamed. Shameless plug. Um, it will be streamed, and I think there's going to be a tweet about it later in the week.
Well, speaking of Canes being your team's favorite spot to go, what's y'all's favorite spot to eat around the campus or campus corner?
In high school, after soccer games, if we won, we would also go to the Canes because it's right down the street from the field. But now in college, on campus quarter, there's a shop called Cup Bop.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
It's like Korean barbecue.
it's
That place
so
is so
good.
good. I saw it like as a touring. I was like, that looks delicious, and I finally went to it like a couple weeks ago, and I think I've gone like at least once a week. It's just so good, and I can't get enough. And all for like a big bowl for
Hmm.
like $10. I was
I
like,
tried it for the first time this week, and it was so
it's so
good.
good.
10 out of 10. And customer service even better.
Hmm.
They like yell at you like welcome to Cup Bop, and you're like heck yeah.
I
You're
do
a
feel
Nice.
Cup
welcome to
Bop.
Cup Up.
Yeah.
How about you, Jay Tran?
I like Fat Shack is cool for the
Okay.
late night, really unhealthy. But I think my go to on campus corner is Greek House. It's cash only, but it's like I think it's like seven. Maybe they up the price, but $10 you get like a plate of like gyro meat, pita, fries. Is good enough for me.
I wouldn't even call that play. It's like a mountain.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
mountain
It's
of meat.
it's a deal. It's definitely a deal. It's only the only downside is cash only, and it's like
Yeah.
we're carrying cash nowadays, really everywhere. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Everyone plays on different rigs or different consoles. Where does everybody stand on PC, beat, or console? What's your favorite? What do you think's the best? Uh,
This is a loaded question to ask us.
I know. I love it.
I low key miss console because I used to think I was a god at Rainbow. I think I was pretty high ranked on Xbox, and I switched to PC and I couldn't get out of silver. It's honest. I miss console for the fact that I thought I was good until you get on PC with guys whose hand-eye coordination is crazy and you get absolutely smacked. But I will say PC. I like PC better. Just the availability of games and the performance is usually better. But it is more expensive.
I feel like each has their merits. I feel like PC does have a lot more flexibility in what they're able to do, but console exclusive still, you can't really get those anywhere else. I mean, legally.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
definitely a sucker. I used to play on a PS3 when I was younger. now I play on the Switch, but I think PC is still my favorite for just the diversity, and you can just do so much on them.
Um, I think by default I have to say console. Because like every sports game, like until recently, it's been all console. But like I'm secretly like a World of Warcraft nerd and StarCraft and like Warcraft 3, and I just built my computer last summer, so I've been able to like dabble in the world of PC gaming, and it's definitely a lot more fun. And the communities are a little less toxic from what I've been able to experience. And yeah, I don't know. I guess leaning PC for me.
Okay, J Tran, Horde or Alliance?
Oh, I am Alliance. I am an Alliance guy all the way through. I
Favorite
don't know,
mod?
something about when I play like RPG, like the MMO RPGs, I have to be a character that like kind of resembles myself. So I'm like the human male warrior. That's it. Move on. Yeah.
What's your
Night elves all the way.
what's your favorite storyline? Because they take your money every month, and then they come out with new stories at least every
Oh,
year. What's your favorite one?
um, I don't know. I can't. I have to be honest. I haven't really. I'm like a classic World of Warcraft guy. Like the first, that's good enough for me. I didn't even play like TVC or Wrath when they relaunched it.
Hmm.
I've just been like, I my latest addiction is the classic communities kind of come together and they've been doing hardcore World of Warcraft. So level 1 through 60 without dying. If you die, you delete, and it's
Wow.
really hard to level in that game. It already takes like 2 weeks of game time played just to get to 60, and then just randomly dying because you look somewhere else, and it's all over again. So yeah,
Mike
that's
says you
what.
can stay now. You chose Alliance.
Yeah.
I think one thing I don't like about PC is a game called Tarkov. That is
Tar-
Oh,
that
Escape
is
Tarkov Prison.
yes.
Yep.
That is hours I will never get back. And I had to tell myself going to college, like, you're a dev lead, you're a coach, you're starting your program. You do not have time for Tarkov. You cannot sit for 6 hours and look for a flash drive. But I will say it's still really fun though. But I had to sadly delete it because I was spending way too much time on that game.
So on
See,
that thought process, guilty pleasures from gaming.
I think the Twitch
I
chat is expecting me to say Mario, but it's not.
my the one that I'm the most shameful to say is I really like Destiny. Um, I've been playing since D1. Um, I stopped for a really long time, and I was a better person. Um, but the newest DLC came out, and I know we wrote an article about it. And one of my newest friends was like, "Hey," the way we met was he asked if I played Destiny, and said, "Oh, I'm probably not gonna play it." And he's like, "Oh, I am." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll play." And it's been out for a month, a little over a month now, and I think I've put over 200 hours into it. It's that MMO that just kind of keeps sucking you in as
how
much
are your
as you want
grades
to
doing?
escape. They're I'm
Uh,
trying.
You're within the GPA
Yeah,
requirements.
that's what matters. That's
That's
why I
what
go to school to
matters.
play.
I think because I have a wheel and everything, I used in high school used to play Truck Simulator a lot, um, quite quite a lot, and then it kind of switched to Tarkov. Um, but yeah, like American Truck Simulator, I would just find myself sitting on the computer, like especially during COVID. I was like, I've been trucking for 10 hours. I should probably like go practice something else besides
Move around a little bit.
yeah, besides pretending to haul lumber from like Oregon to California.
But Mario, if you ever need someone to play Tarkov with again, I'll re-download it.
Ah, gosh,
That is a
the
game I've wanted to try too.
See, we
So
got all
oh,
we need is Destiny to play, and then we got a
start the
full.
Tarkov
we got
team
we got
right
we have
here
a
in this
full
panel.
squad. Yeah, I try to play with people I knew from racing. Like I played with like the league owner of the league I run in, and like the co-owner, and then we ended up not becoming friends for a while because I accidentally killed him, and then said, "Oh, I didn't steal your loot."
Dang.
Nice AK he
Mario,
had though.
trucker hat cosplay for
Oh,
Halloween
I do
next
have a
year.
truck. I do have a trucker hat, like that super like foamy one in the front.
Why am I not surprised that you own one of those?
I was born here, but I grew up in kind of rural Oklahoma. So,
Okay. Is there any questions you guys would like to ask each other?
for JTran, does like Madden translate to other EA games like FIFA or like NBA at all?
Um, that's a good question. I wouldn't say so. I think the where sports gaming as a whole is right now is kind of like a pretty sad place. Everything is everything is meta driven. I guess you could say that about any game, but especially with Madden nowadays, like the past four Maddens have been like pretty bad. And it's more about like who knows how to glitch who, and if you can stop someone from glitching you. It's not really that much football concepts anymore. It's like who knows the craziest blitz where once you hike the ball, you have zero point 0.1 seconds to throw, or you're gonna get sacked. And but yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say they translate to each other, but it's all about knowing the glitches and everything now.
Mhm.
My question for Phoebe is, how does like scoring in Apex work? Because I know you can't really do a bracket.
So usually the way we do scoring is, at least for qualifications, is the higher you place, the more points you get. Obviously, with each kill you get counting as 1 point, and then usually you would have the top half of the lobby, so like the top 10 teams move on to the next bracket. So instead of being like individual teams moving on, you just have like chunks of teams moving on.
Mm,
I
because
guess
I'm a filthy Mirage player, so
Ooh.
I just run around and somehow make it to top 10 and then
You look
die.
like a Mirage player.
That's messed up, man.
Nah, man, Bangalore all the way.
wait, Mario, is
Yeah.
it does your back like I watch your stream sometimes when you be streaming.
Uh-huh.
You're just sitting there for like hours. I'm like, and
Dude.
I don't understand racing at all. I'm just there
Uh-huh.
supporting.
Gotta have a
I'm
good
like,
I
pillow.
dang, what is
appreciate it.
going on? This it's like there's crashes. I'm like, dang, Mario's gonna win, but then like some dude just randomly comes and hits you, and then like I don't have no idea what's going on at all. And then there's a lap where everyone's going slow, and I'm like, what the heck is this? What's going on? But
I could say the same thing for Madden.
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Sometimes out of it, this out of, um, iRacing makes you like tired and like sweat.
Uh-huh.
It's like you worked out, and I always make the mistake of like wearing a hoodie when I race, and it's like the worst mistake ever. And by the end of the race, you have like pit stains that are like going like halfway down your shirt,
Dang.
and then like you're like stuck to like the back of the chair. It's like if you're doing like chest day, but for like 2 hours. And especially with racing, it's weird. Everyone has like their different style and like how they want to sit in the seat and how like they have their wheel set up. I know in some like controller games you have like people who like crab or
Mhm.
something like that.
Claw.
Or yeah, claw. Yeah, there's like guys who like want to like sit up close to the wheel and like have their arms tugged, and there's guys who like drive straight arm. And I know with me, I have like this nervous ick when I race where I just lick my lips or like my tongue like sticks out to where I'm just sometimes on stream I catch myself just doing like just have my tongue sticking out. And I do that in real life, even though I
It's
have
the
a
Michael
helmet.
Jordan. Michael Jordan did the
So
same
so
thing.
so it's endurance training in iRacing, Mario.
Yes. Yes. And I would like the more I do it, um, like my girlfriend said, like your arms look bigger. I was like, I had a rough race today. And it's it was a workout. And I sometimes like in real life racing, sometimes I have had harder races on the sim, just like physically, than real life. Like I've had crashes in real life, and none of them like compared to like the soreness sometimes I get to after like a 3 hour race on here.
Dang.
Speaking of crashes, what is stopping someone? Let's say I was to get into the iRacing competitive scene and just veer into people. They're like penalties you get because I know in one of your clips there was a really bad crash, and I was just like, how is that allowed?
Um, it's not, but it happens. I wouldn't
An
say
accident.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. iRacing isn't really toxic, but you do have toxic people who basically just follow the like the word like I bet you won't, and they're like yeah I will, and they just do it. So iRacing has a system where it's called safety rating, and every time you make contact with another car and it results in like a spin or a wreck, you get what we call like a 4x, and you're in races you're limited to 17. So if you get more than 17, you're disqualified. But the higher you go, by the end of the race, it will lower your safety rating. And if your safety rating is low enough, you will get demoted. And then there is a report system where you can report people and like send the replay. Or you can go on Twitter and just kind of just like roast the guy. Like, look at this guy.
Take him to
You know?
town.
Yeah. And iRacing Twitter is very nice. But if you are caught doing something stupid, like there was a guy, like a pro driver, an ex pro driver who got caught doing something like intentionally wrecking the field because he got wrecked, and everyone just like clowned into them. And I'm just on Twitter, just like, oh god, like please don't be me. Like this, then there's people. There's sometimes you like have races where you're with friends, but no one else knows you're racing with friends, and you like wreck your friend, and then everyone's like yelling at you, like, bro, why'd you wreck that guy? Like, rah. Then you're like, oh, he's my buddy. He's like, no, he's
It
not.
was
You're just
funny.
yeah. I was like, it's funny. Like sometimes wrecking people is funny, but I do not condone wrecking for someone. Okay.
So,
I'm,
so it sounds like it's like in FPSs where you friendly fire or nade shot somebody.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah, or it's like Rocket League when you just spam like good save, good save, good save after scoring or something.
Yeah,
Booyah.
because in Splatoon there's only two actual like comms you can do. You can do ouch and you can do booyah. And the amount of times where I've played against someone, I die, and you spectate the person that kills you for maybe like 3 seconds, and they're like, we have our own version of teabagging, and they're like squid bagging me. They're spamming booyah, and it's just like after
squid
the game, I
bagging.
am tweeting
Okay.
at you.
That's a
Yeah,
The
new one. I've
booyah
never heard of
macro.
squid bagging.
it's yeah, it's weird. It looks kind of funny. I know a couple of my guys, and especially when we're practicing against each other. And as soon as someone from Black Team who plays the same role as me gets like a lucky snipe on me, I don't hear the end of it. And they're like, "Oh, you're the coach. You can't die. That's not allowed."
I think the
Um,
funniest for me is like the Madden clips of like trash talking. Like some Madden clips have me laughing for like hours.
oh yeah,
It's no, it's crazy. Especially with PS5, there's a built-in microphone in the controller. In the PS4, like you kind of had to have a headset or a little, your Apple headphones, so you didn't really have to deal with it. But my goodness, like I'm at the point whenever I'm playing, I play on an alert tag because like the, the one thing I don't want to do is like have someone beat me and then I'm on Twitter or YouTube. A funny story is that like that there was a tournament in Miami, Oklahoma. I signed up for it and I like stayed low key. Like I didn't tell anyone I was there. I didn't tell anyone who I was. I was just there to play and compete. And then like by the second game, there's people like staring at me the whole time, and they're like yeah, everybody knows you're the coach of OU Madden, and everyone's trying to take you down. And I'm like, so they puts like extra pressure on me. And I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to get tweeted at or pictures taken of me. I'm just trying to play. But yeah, it's insane.
yeah. I
So,
think
so
we
we
I
need to
think
get
we've
you some costumes, some way to dress you
Yeah, yeah, for
differently
real.
so they stop recognizing you. You're a celebrity.
He needs witness protection now. You gotta
yeah.
protect him.
Wait, I did have one question for all the coaches though. So in Madden, there's no line between competitive and professional, right? So like a lot of the pro players they're in college at the same time, so they're able to like kind of play in all the collegiate tournaments. So how do you guys feel? And do you think that like eventually, as like a collegiate esport, we're gonna need to be able to determine amateurs from professionals, or do you think it's gonna be an okay thing to keep both of them together at the same time? I
That's
don't
a that's
know.
a
Yeah.
good question. because as one of my players was on the last panel mentioned, we before our league to like determine which division everyone's in,
Yep.
we have like an entrance exam and it's like a Swiss bracket. So you're put against random people for the first 4 matches, and that kind of determines which bracket you're end up in. We got put against like Div 1, Div 2 players that destroyed us. We got rolled in that first switch bracket. Um, and after we lost,
Like, hi, random people.
yeah, I guess my roommate need to return something to me. After we lost, we got put in the bronze bracket, and we didn't lose a single game in that bronze bracket because we were going against Div 7, Div 8 players when
Hmm.
we're a Div 4 team. So it's kind of like it's not really fair if you put teams that are like just starting out or just beginning their like competitive journey against players and people who have been playing for like 2 years, a year, or just have that competitive knowledge. I think there needs to be some kind of distinguisher.
Yeah.
I know in iRacing it's an ongoing discussion because I know some esports don't allow pro to represent college. That we're trying to get it, or I guess there's like a movement trying to get pros not to race in college for iRacing for the fact that last fall a pro driver won all 4 races in the fall, and as of right now in the spring we've done 3 out of 4, and the same pro driver has won all 3 so far, and will probably win the fourth one. Um, so there is like a line between professional, college, and like amateurs, but you see a lot of pros who race amongst amateurs and also college. But there are also college drivers who probably should be pro drivers. They have the talent, but to officially become pro in iRacing is a 2-year process. Because as of right now, I'm doing Road to Pro on my way to try to be a pro, and that's 8 months, and then you have to go into like a second round, which is another like 4 months, and then you have to go into what we call like the contender series, which is like the second tier, and that's like a 2 month progress, and then if you're like top 20 out of that, you're a pro driver. But pro is only 40 drivers out of, oh, I would say like 1,500 who try to qualify. I'm one of 1,500 who are trying to make it pro. It's such a hard process to get pro, and it makes sense why these guys are so good because what they went through. But if they're so good, I think they get paid. If even if you're the 40th driver out of 40, you do get sponsorship money from it. Um, and I think if we have 2 semesters in a row to where a pro driver like clinches all 4 races and wins like $20,000 in scholarship money, that I think we need to like open it up to where like actual college kids can actually get like scholarship from it.
Apex has it set up in a really nice way where we don't really have an official path to pro thing, but we do have like junior leagues with the ALGS, which is the Apex Legends Global Series, where they have qualifications every. I think they're in spring usually, where it's a hey, anyone's free to enter into the qualifications for the worlds in summer, and you'll have teams from all over the place sign up. Of course, they won't all do very well, but it's nice that they have the door open so that if you do have people with the talent and drive ready to make the push into pro, they can get out there and start getting seen by sponsors, by recruitment people, and all of that. Because I've played in scrims and competitions before where it's a very noticeable difference between the top 3 and the bottom 3, and it's very heavily weighted. So it's really nice that they have a way for us to separate them out, but not in such a way that there's no way to cross from the lower into the upper.
Well, that was some great answers to that question. We are past the 11 p.m. hour, which means time to turn things over to Mike for the final hour of our 24-hour stream. Coaches, thank you. I appreciate you coming together for me and having a chat with me. It's always a pleasure. End of school in what, a week? We have our end of school bash. I'd love to
Oh,
see y'all
goodness,
there.
God. Oh.
Oh man.
Um, And yeah, just a
Try
couple
not
more
to.
weeks of school. So we'll be chatting more on Discord. Everyone that's watching us online, thank you so much for sticking through, saying hi to us, keeping us chatting, asking questions. I love it. And yeah, I'm gonna end stream here, or say goodbye for now, and we will see you the next time we throw some stuff together. So, thank you, you guys, so much.
All right. See you guys.